Imagine being on a cold winter night in Paris, 2008. Two friends, Travis Kalanick and Garrett Camp, stand shivering, waiting for a taxi that never seems to arrive. They were frustrated, cold, and desperate. And it's in this moment that a revolutionary idea is born, an idea that will grow into a multi-billion-dollar empire, Uber. But this isn't just a story of innovation and success. This is a tale of controversy, scandal, and ethical dilemmas. This is the story of how Uber disrupted the world and broke the rules and left a trail of chaos in its wake. Let's rewind to that night in Paris. Travis and Garrett were just two tech-savvy guys frustrated with the traditional taxi experience, but what separates them from everyone else waiting that night was their vision. They didn't just see a problem, they saw an opportunity. Inspired by a scene from a James Bond film where Bond controls a car using his phone, they began to think, what if you could do that in real life? And so Uber was born, a simple app that allowed you to order a sleek black limousine at the touch of a button. It was the start of something big, a luxury service for the elite in San Francisco, but Uber had bigger ambitions. Uber wasn't just a tech company, it was a disruptor, and disruptors don't play by the rules. In October 2010, just a few months after launching in San Francisco, Uber was hit with a cease and desist letter from the city's transportation agency. They were told what they were doing was illegal. But did Travis Kalanick back down? No, he doubled down. He dropped the word cab from Uber's name, rebranded it as a technology company, and kept operating. He was willing to do whatever it took to succeed, even if that meant playing fast and loose with the law. Travis knew that the only way to beat the system was to build something so big, so popular, that the authorities couldn't shut it down. And that's exactly what he did. Uber offered free rides, huge bonuses to drivers, and flooded cities with its services. By the time regulators tried to intervene, Uber had an army of loyal users ready to fight back. But Uber's rule bending didn't stop there. Behind the scenes, they developed a secret program known as Greyball. This software allowed Uber to identify and block government officials from using their app, effectively hiding their cars from the authorities. It was a digital game of cat and mouse, and Uber was winning. Greyball was just one of many tactics Uber used to evade the law. They hired former CIA, NSA, and FBI agents to have them build out their spy network. They manipulated maps, tricked regulators, and continued to operate in cities where they were banned. Uber wasn't just fighting the system, they were outsmarting it. As Uber expanded, it faced competition from a new rival, Lyft. But in Travis Kalanick's world, there was no room for second place. Uber launched an all-out war against Lyft, using every dirty trick in the book. They created fake Lyft accounts to track their drivers, poached Lyft drivers with lucrative bonuses, and even sabotaged their marketing events. It was ruthless, it was cutthroat, and it was exactly the kind of thing that made Uber so successful and so controversial. But Uber's aggressive tactics didn't just stop with their competition. The company's rapid expansion brought with it a host of safety concerns and scandals. One of the most horrific incidents occurred in 2014 when a passenger in India was raped by her Uber driver. The story made headlines around the world and raised serious questions about Uber's screening process for drivers. And this wasn't an isolated incident. As Uber grew, so did the number of complaints about driver misconduct, assaults, and even deaths. But despite the mounting evidence, Uber refused to tighten its background checks or take responsibility for the actions of its drivers. They were determined to grow at any cost, even if that cost was public safety. By 2017, Uber was facing a PR crisis of epic proportions. The scandals, the lawsuits, the public backlash. It all began to catch up with Travis Kalanick. His aggressive win at all costs mentality had built Uber into a global powerhouse, but it had also created a toxic culture within the company. Accusations of sexual harassment, discrimination, and unethical business practices flooded the media. Employees began speaking out, investors started to pull back, and the hashtag Delete Uber campaign went viral, leading to millions of users deleting the app in protest. The pressure became too much, and in June 2017, Travis Kalanick was forced to resign as CEO of the company he had built from the ground up. It was a dramatic fall from grace for a man who had once been seen as Silicon Valley's golden boy. Uber's story is one of innovation and disruption, but it's also a cautionary tale. It's a story about what happens when a company becomes too big, too powerful, and too willing to break the rules. Uber changed the way we think about transportation, but it also left a trail of controversy and scandal in its wake. As Uber continues to expand and evolve under new leadership, the question remains, can the company ever fully escape the shadow of its past, or will the ghosts of its scandals continue to haunt it as it drives into the future? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain, Uber's story is far from over.